Hey, this is Bret with RecordingCrave.com. Hey, in this video, I want to show you how to improve on your kick drum sound. We're going to use two different examples of two different sets of plugins to get your kick drum to pop out in your mix. So what we're going to do is I have a drum track all loaded up here for a song, and I've bypassed all the EQ. There's no EQ or no compression or no reverb on this track. There's only panning that I've done, and that's it. So let's take a listen to the track as it is. The drum set is a DW drum set. It's a DW kick using a Beta 52 microphone. Okay, you can hear right away. The kick sounds not too bad. You know, depending on what style of song it is, you could probably get by with using that. But for this song, it's a rock song. It needs a little more punch, a little more snap to the kick drum sound, and maybe cut some of the boxiness out of the kick. So the first thing I want to show you is a plugin that Waves sells. It's called the Chris Lord-Alge Signature Series drum plugin. Let's go ahead and open this up. Now I have a preset in here already that I've created, but if you go over here to this load function here, and you can go see he's got several different presets that are great places to start, and then just tweak from there. One nice thing about his plugins, they really sound good right out of the gate, and you'll be surprised how good they sound and how well they work with your mixes. Now, they don't work for everything, but they would certainly work for a lot of things. One thing I like to do with these signature series, whether it's Chris Lord-Alge or some of the other signature series that Waves has, I like to try to replicate the sound that they get with the plugins that I have. What that does for me is helps me with my ear. Helps me with my ear, and also helps me to learn different frequencies and frequency techniques to get certain instruments to sound the way the big guys get them to sound. So let's take a listen to this drum set with the Chris Lord-Alge plugin engaged. But before I do that, I do want to say I do have a gate on the kick drum channel. Let me bypass all these other drums here, and I want to show you just the kick drum as it is. Let's just go ahead and play it. You can hear a lot of bleed from the snare and the cymbals, and I want to get rid of that. I want a very clean sound. I'm not going for an organic sound on this song, which is sometimes, you know, if you're going for an organic sound, you maybe want some of the bleed, you want the room, and you want all that organic sounding stuff in your mix. But for this song, I don't. So I'm going to turn on the gate, and I have it already set up to a preset that I've made. But if you go in there, there's several presets that'll work for you. Just tweak it to where you need it. So I'm going to turn that on. You can still faintly hear the snare in there and maybe some of the cymbals, but it's cut it enough to where if I start EQing that kick, it's not going to alter the snare sound or the cymbal sound once I start mixing. So we'll start there. Now let's turn on the other drums. Okay, now I'm going to take the bypass off of this Chris Lord-Alge plugin. You hear right away that there's more snap to the kick, and the kick tightened up quite a bit. It's not so woofy. That is one strategy, and that is a quick strategy. What I really like about these Signature Series plugins is for the home studio guys without a lot of experience, they can use these plugins and get a great sound just by inserting it onto your kick or your snare or your toms or whatever it might be. Let's close that out. Let's go to the other plugin technique that I have here. I'm going to go to one of the EQs that comes with Pro Tools, then also one of the compressors that come with Pro Tools. Okay, we're going to open them both up. I'm using a PC, and if you need to open both plugins up at the same time, you push the Shift key down and you click on the plugin you want opened up. Like if I wanted the Chris Lord-Alge one open, I'd push Shift, push that, and then I'd have all three of them open. I'm not going to do that. The EQ is set flat, so we won't hear anything right there with that at all. But the compressor has a default setting as soon as you open it up. So the compressor is already engaged unless I hit bypass. But let's hear let's bypass the compressor. Let's play the drums and engage the default position on the compressor. Really cut the gain down. Now when we engage that, it takes some of the boominess out of there. And actually, for some people, that might be all that they need to do, and they'll be happy with that. But again, you won't know until you start adding the bass and the guitars and everything else on the recording. But we'll start with that right there. Or what you can do is you come up here to the different settings that they have. Now I have a bunch of my own settings that I've created. But I think the kick tight one here is a preset that comes with this. I like that a lot because it really tightens up the kick. For some of the stuff that I do, the rock stuff, I like it nice and tight, not too boomy where it's muddying up the low end. Tighten it up, but it also lost a little bit of gain. Okay, we'll try that. Now we might have to adjust the gain once we start messing with the EQ. Okay, now with the EQ, what I like to do is, and first of all, I do want to preface this. You know, there's a big debate on which comes first, the compressor or the EQ, and I say whatever sounds better. If you want your compressor first, then your EQ, by all means. If you want your EQ and then your compressor after, by all means. Whatever sounds better. That's my philosophy with everything. Same with EQ. Some people, you know, the purist will say, you know, I only do negative EQing. I don't add. Well, if you look at some of the big mixing guys, you'll see their EQs, they're always adding. Basically, there are no rules. Whatever makes the song sound good. That's my philosophy. Without damaging your equipment, of course. Let's listen to this track and let's tweak this EQ to get this kick drum to sound good. And see how fast we can get it to go here. Okay, remember the compressor's engaged, but what I want to do is take some of this boxiness out. So we'll take this mid-frequency. Try that, and then we'll tighten up that bandwidth a little bit. Already it's sounding better. It's taking some of the boxiness out. Okay, I want a little more snap out of that. Okay, that's not too bad. Now, what I want to do here is I do want to put a high pass filter on here because I don't want the low end to be too woofy down there. I want to really start to carve out frequencies so my mix gets tight. So I'm going to engage the high pass filter. And I like to usually put those around, I don't always do this, but I do it often. And usually about 39 to 40 hertz and below I'll take out. And then I want to boost a little bit of the low end. And usually I'll do that anywhere from the 80 hertz. I'll skip over the 70s because for some reason the 70 hertz area doesn't appeal to me. It doesn't really sound that good. But usually like 80 or 84, somewhere in there. Or I'll drop down to the 60s, like 63 or 64. To get some more punch. Right there, did you hear that? Just add some nice punch. Now let's bypass that and see what we got. From that to that. Well, that turned out quite nicely, actually. We got some nice snap on the top end of the kick and some punchy, nice low bottom on the kick as well. And if that 63 hertz is too woofy yet, we can tighten up that bandwidth and rein that in a little bit more. Well, hopefully that was pretty informative for you on improving the sound of your kick drum with these EQing and compression strategies. I just want to remind you that especially on the EQ strategy that we did, some of those cuts and those boosts are pretty common with the kick drum. Now, not every kick drum is going to sound the same, and every drummer is going to have a little different sound just by the way they play and the way they tune. So some of those frequencies may change. And I've had some kick drums where I've hardly had to do anything. They just sounded so good out of the box, except for maybe add a little compression. And hopefully you'll have that problem as well, because that's a good problem to have when you don't have to do too much to your kick drum. This is Bret, and my friends call me Fergie, so you're welcome to call me Fergie as well. I just want to take this time to say thank you for watching this video, and I would appreciate if you would just leave some comments below what you thought, any questions, or anything that you would like to see in the future. I'd love for you to visit my website, recordingcrave.com. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you in the next video where we talk about the snare drum.